Bruce, you must have something really good too.
Of course I do. It's Bruce Danielson, and I guess I'm here to entertain you too.
Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, February 19th. Welcome to your Sioux Falls City Council informational meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. Our first item of business is the Siouxland Heritage Museum Board meeting that was on Thursday, February 14th. Is that you?
That is me.
Sir? All right,
that is
you're
me.
up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to do a quick update of the board meeting that happened this past Thursday. One of the things I've had Jim David put up a split of the budget, how the museum system works. I know we go through this as part of our budgetary process, but it takes you through the total budget for the museum of 1.5 million basically, and then it the one-page sheet that I have available is goes through the split of the city, the county, and then it takes you through the operations budget. There it is. Now it comes up on the screen a little bit for everyone else. The operations budget is 50% for the city and 50% for the county. As we know, the human resources part of it, the museum employees are all employees of the county, so we split that up. And then the old courthouse maintenance budget is about $57,000 this year. The Pettigrew maintenance budget is $44,000, almost 45. And then the collections maintenance budget is about $35,000, which again is split 50-50 between the city and the county. And then when you look at the revenue, the museum has a special enterprise fund that is used for special events, primarily when there's weddings and special events that are held there. So those funds are generated from the enterprise fund or the rental of primarily the court room things, but you know, it's almost $250,000 that they raise doing special events, and to bring those revenues in on top of lowering, I guess, the revenue that's needed by both the city and the county. The museum store also is projected to raise about $21,000 that's used for operating and maintenance of the facility for, again, that total budget of $1.5 million to run the system. So I also have a copy of the Siouxland Heritage Museum's annual report. I'll get that scanned and put up online with this agenda item so you can peruse that. And then the museums have an alliance board that also does special things for the museum. I have a copy of their annual report and put that also online as part of this agenda item. So,
Sounds good. Thank you for the update. Any questions for Councilor Starr? Seeing none, we'll move to City Council open discussion. Any open discussion? I have one item that I just want to give actually two items. Reminder for all of us on the council and for the public that we have a work session on February 27th at 1 o'clock here at Carnegie. So February 27th, 1 o'clock for discussing the upcoming budget. And also next week, we will start our informational meeting at 3:30. And this is because of the joint meeting between Minnehaha County and us. We will have two items that we are discussing at our informational meeting. They are the fire code issues, and then we also have the decorative wall that we discussed last week on our agenda. So our informational meeting will start next week at 3:30. You will get reminders for that, but I just wanted to make sure I said the notice. Councilor Staley.
Just excuse me, a separate note. I just wanted to state for the record, for the public, there was a letter to the editor in Sunday's paper dealing with the vacation vote that we had last week from an angry citizen about the three of us voting not to vacate Elmwood. But in the midst of that letter, it referenced my employment at USF, and it referenced a vacation that we had before us, a year and a half ago, concerning a street near USF, and inferring in that letter that somehow I voted on that to give some kind of a extra handout to the place where I work. So just for the record, I recused myself when that vote came up. I stepped out of the room. I had nothing to do with that. So I just want the public to understand that integrity says that when we have any kind of a affiliation with something being voted on, whether it's an employer or someone who's given us money, that we need to recuse ourselves from participating and doing something to promote the benefit of that project. So just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Any other open discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I
Go
could,
ahead, Councilor
please.
Starr.
One of the things that is breaking today is one of our legislative agenda items talking about presumptive parole. And the governor's administration came out today saying that by eliminating presumptive parole, that it could cost the state anywhere from $8.7 million to $35 million annually in operating expenses. And then on top of that, it could cost an additional $33.3 million to $150 million, according to their analysis as they testified in committee today. The committee will be making a final decision on moving this forward to repeal presumptive parole on Thursday. And so I thought it was kind of an interesting cost and how it fits in with our legislative agenda.
Any other open discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to our first presentation, a Midco Aquatic Center update. Welcome, Sky.
Thank you. City Council, Sky Smothers, Recreation Manager, Parks and Recreation Department. We're excited to be here today for the opportunity to provide an update for the Midco Aquatic Center. It's hard to believe that although relatively still young, the Midco Aquatic Center has been operational for 28 months. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Midco for their sponsorship of the Aquatic Center. They've been great to work with over the years, and the relationship couldn't be any better. The Midco Aquatic Center was designed to be a multi-purpose facility, and we are proud that we're able to offer something for all ages. The picture here to the left is of our Whibbit Wiggle Bridge. Once a month, we bring out our Wiggle Bridge and our giant action tower to enjoy in the Sanford Health 50-meter pool. The photo in the top middle is from one of our monthly Flick and Float movie events. The picture on the bottom middle is where visitors of all ages congregate to enjoy the interactive play features, especially the dumping bucket. The picture on the right is from the 2018 Summit League Swimming and Diving Championships, where 13 meet records were set. These pictures sum up why we do what we do. There's nothing better than to see the smiling faces and enjoyment at one of our facilities. In 2017, we saw 219,055 visitors to the facility. Of those total visits, 69% came from general public use, 19% from programming, and 12% from swim team rentals. We'd like to point out that within that 69% of the general public use in 2017, 55%, or 82,838 visits, came from daily admission, and 45%, or 67,585 visits, came from those visits that were swim pass. In 2018, we saw 209,218 visits to the facility, with 67% of that being general public use, 13% coming from programming, and 20% from swim team rentals. Within the general public use in 2018, the data is starting to indicate a shift from daily admission to swim pass, as 43%, or 60,049 visits, came from daily admission, and 57%, or 79,610 visits, came from swim pass sales. The transition of our user can be attributed to the change in pass structure that occurred in April of 2017, as approved by City Council. 2018 saw an increase in the number of attendees for the swim meet rentals due to hosting larger attended meets, such as the South Dakota State B and the Summit League Swimming and Diving Championships. The attendance at the Midco has been incredible, as we've surpassed 200,000 visits in each of the past 2 years. This slide breaks down the 2 years of attendance by month. As you can see, both years of attendance mirror one another and show that the summer months are the Midco's busiest months by far. June and July are the two highest attended months in both years. Our record attendance stands at 30,995, of which we hit in July of 2017. The attendance follows school district calendars, and the data shows that when school's out, the Midco's busy. Revenues have remained consistent. In 2017, we had revenues of $976,000, and in 2018, we had revenues of $975,000. As I previously mentioned, the user is shifting from daily admission towards the swim pass. You can see that transition here within the revenue. The daily admission revenue has decreased from $316,000 in 2017 to $282,000 in 2018, while the swim pass revenue has increased from $223,000 in 2017 to $264,000 in 2018, which equates to an increase in revenue of $7,000 from 2017 to 2018 in those two respective categories. Programming includes swimming lessons, certification classes, and our water aerobics classes. Thanks to all the staff who do an incredible job instructing the swim lessons, and thanks to the water fitness instructors who are always looking at ways to improve our classes. That is one of the main reasons that we've seen an increase in revenue from 2017 to 2018. The sponsorship category includes $230,000 from Midco, Parkway Orthodontics, Children's Dental. As you guys recall, the naming rights for the Sanford Health and Papa John's, of which was just approved, will be recognized starting this year, which will add an additional $27,500 to that sponsorship line item for 2018. Our total expenses have slightly increased from $1.5 million to $1.6 million in 2018. The increase in operational can be attributed to repair and maintenance, timing of supplies purchased, and cost of doing business. In 2017, the facility was largely covered under warranty, and now we are responsible for those repairs, or for those expenses. Our team works closely with the finance department on a monthly basis, reviewing and discussing the budget associated with the Midco Aquatic Center. The finance team has been instrumental in helping us manage our budget. Staff have done a great job managing personnel, as it has essentially remained flat from 2017 to 2018. Staff monitors the local school calendars to anticipate when we will be busy, requiring more or less staff. We do anticipate the personal line item to increase in 2019 due to the approval of the 2019 budget, which included a 50-cent raise for our part-time employees. This has helped us in our recruiting efforts as well as retainage of employees from 2018 to 2019, and if you guys know of somebody looking for a job, please send them our way. The Midco Aquatic Center is much more than just a place to swim. We offer programming for all ages. 1,739 individuals have enrolled in American Red Cross Learn to Swim swimming lessons in 2018, a valuable life safety skill. Lifeguards and water safety instructors have been certified in-house, which has allowed us to prepare more efficiently and effectively for the outdoor summer aquatic season. Prior to the Midco, we sent staff off location for training and certifications. This has reduced costs while allowing staff to train and work year-round. Our Flick and Float movie events as well as our WIBIT events are offered on a monthly basis. Our fitness classes continue to be popular. An example is a few months ago we offered a free fitness frenzy event where participants were able to try a variety of our classes to see if they wanted to enroll in some sessions. After that event, we saw an increase in attendance, and we even had to add a few classes. In addition to our fitness classes and other activities and events, we partner with the Sioux Falls Swim Team, University of Sioux Falls, Augustana University, U.S. Master Swimming, University of South Dakota Senior Games, Special Olympics of South Dakota, Summit League, and the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. In the Midco short history, the Sanford Health 50-meter pool has hosted several swim meets with rave reviews. During the 2018 Summit League Swimming and Diving Championships, 13 new meet records were set. Thousands of personal records have been set in this pool. Just last week, during the first session of the first day of the NSIC Swimming and Diving Championships, 113 swimmers set personal bests. The NSIC meet saw several championship records broken as well. Athletes love swimming at the Midco because of the fast water, the ability to set a personal record, and for the chance to qualify for another meet itself. And speaking qualifying for other events, on February 24th, we will be hosting an Olympic trials qualifying type event where athletes will be able to compete to see if they're fast enough to compete in Omaha at the Olympic trials. USD, Summit League, USF, and NSIC have all live streamed swim meets, with the Sioux Falls swim team planning on live streaming for their upcoming meet as well. Live streaming allows friends and family not able to attend the meet the ability to watch from anywhere in the world. Those swim meets hosted at the Midco that have had at least one overnight stay have an estimated $2.5 million impact on the local economy. We worked with the Sioux Falls CVB to project the estimated economic impact from the 9 swim meets that occur from July of 2018 through March of 2019, and as I mentioned, have at least one overnight stay. The projected estimated economic impact is based on the event dates, number of athletes, estimated number of overnight attendees, and the estimated number of day visitors. What have we learned about the Midco Aquatic Center? We've learned that the Midco is much more popular than our consultants originally estimated. The large indoor toolbox option that our consultants presented per the 2013 Aquatics Master Plan estimated that the attendance would be 82,595, and we are now experiencing attendance of over 200,000 each of the last 2 years. Indoor swimming lessons continue to be in high demand as the parent-child, toddler, level 1 classes routinely reach capacity, and our water fitness classes continue to expand offerings and are more popular than ever. Recreation warm water pool has reached capacity, especially when school is out. June and July are the highest attended months at the facility, but the outdoor attendance continues to be steady from one year to the next. This has shown us that people like to swim, and they like to swim often. Also very popular is the Sanford Health 50-meter pool, which is a venue that provides fantastic swimming atmosphere. Again, due to the popularity of the Midco, one thing is for certain, and that is that the multi-purpose vision has become a reality. In conclusion, as of yesterday, 505,463 visitors have come through the doors of the Midco Aquatic Center since opening day on October 13th, 2016. Thank you, City Council. Thank you, Sioux Falls, and for everyone else who supported this great facility. The Midco Aquatic Center is one of the best indoor aquatic centers in the region and one of the top facilities in the nation. Thank you to Gene Pearson, Rich Carlson, Shannon Leibel, Josh Brinkman, and staff for providing a great experience to those who visit. You all do a phenomenal job. Keep up the great work. Also, stay tuned as Midco, our title sponsor, has graciously produced a commercial for the facility free of charge. Look forward to seeing that on your television soon. And with that, the team would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sky. I appreciate your presentation there. Any questions, Councilor Selberg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sky, do we have the Summit Championships every year? Do we have like a multi-year deal with them? Is it kind of like the basketball?
Currently we do not. However, they are here again this year. They actually started practice today. So competition starts tomorrow and will go through Saturday.
So it's year by year. We've been going on that particular event. Any idea what kind of, I know you did the $2,500,000, the economic impact for all the meets. Any idea like what the Summit particular, something like that brings for an economic impact?
I can definitely bring that to you because it was one of those 9 meets, and I apologize I don't have that with me. But
no problem. Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. My only other question, you'd mentioned everything was under warranty for a year, something to that effect at the Midco Center. Now, is everything off then from there, or are there certain things that are still under warranty? And
I know for substantial completion, those standard warranties did expire September of 2017. I believe there are a few other warranties that are out there, but the majority of those have expired due to substantial completion. Yep.
Okay, interesting. All right, thank you.
Yep.
And Councilor Kiley.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Sky, for the presentation. It appears that our operating costs, I think, are about 600, and if I calculated that right, 625,000 over our total revenue. Total revenue 975, and the Total expenses 1.6. I guess we never thought this was going to be a profit maker for us, but the good thing is the estimated economic impact of 2.5 million. I'm not sure that you get that out of normal outdoor pools, maybe to a degree if you're hosting some state meets, as we have hosted many state meets in the past at Drake Springs. And I guess if we were to look at the operating costs of a outdoor pool that's open for maybe just 2 months or a little over 2 months, when this is open for 12 months, is that comparable operating costs, or are they going to be a little higher for the indoor aquatic center?
You know, when it comes down to the cost per person, when you're looking at that amount, with the Midco, you're right around that $3 cost per person based on that subsidy amount. Compared to the outdoor pools, that price is going to be at least double when you're looking at those expenses.
Have we, in an effort to increase attendance during the time of the year when kids aren't out on summer break from school, have we looked into any thinking outside of the box in terms of transportation and busing that might be direct to the Midco from our hub downtown, where kids can get on a city bus and then go directly, get downtown and go directly out to the Aquatic Center for there, or any other process that might help boost that attendance?
You know, we have brainstormed, we routinely brainstorm on trying to fill those hours of the day that we all know that we could get some more attendance. We have not thought about that idea, but that's a great idea, and that's something that we'll definitely explore. But that's a great idea of trying to look at some sort of partnership between us and the transportation or the school, and trying to get some of those kids there, or other people.
I mean, we do have the busing program for kids already during the summer months, but this is something that maybe could be extended throughout the school year as well, too.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the presentation, Sky.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Neitzer.
Sky, I'm surprised to hear that the cost per person is actually more for an outdoor. I guess I'm curious about the rationale, just because I generally think of like, and by the way, I want to be really clear. I love the indoor pool. Our family uses it. I love outdoor pools. I don't want to pit them against each other, and I don't think you do either. But, you know, I just think of like a place you have to heat and cool versus an outdoor pool. Seems like maybe less overhead, but what would be why would that be? Why would it be more?
Yeah, there's, you know, on the operational side, there's added expenses of taking time and making sure that the equipment's up to date. Some of that equipment is a little bit older, so there's a lot more expense associated with the upkeep. I can definitely get a breakdown of those actually expenses for the outdoor pools. I may have it right
and that's fine if you want to do that later, but, and I mean, is it driven by the age of the pools? I mean, if we had all brand new outdoor pools, theoretically, would that number be significantly less, or? I mean, is it because of the aging infrastructure, or?
You know, I'm not an expert on those types of things, but I can definitely go get the outdoor pools budget from our finance team. Okay. And look at that and let you know.
Okay. The other thing, and thank you, the economic impact, the devil's in the details with any economic impact. It's obviously an estimate, event centers, whatever. It would be interesting if we could get the backing assumptions that get you there. I mean, if that's available. Yeah. Because there's assumptions about how many people are staying in hotels, how many people, how much they're spending.
Yep, exactly. Yep, I can get that for you too.
Yeah, okay. And then I think I had one other, and this kind of goes to what I think Councilor Kiley was getting at. I was thinking about, do you look at the demographics as far as who's coming through the door? And by that I mean, what would be really interesting to know is how many people coming in the door are from out of town, how many are in town, where do they live in town, are they free and reduced, are they not free and reduced, and kind of getting some of those trends. Like, for example, if they're free and reduced and they live anywhere else in town, are they getting to the Midco where they can use it? And if they're not, then how do we get them there?
It's a great question, and our software allows us to analyze the data down to that detail. We have done that in the past, and it's something that we continue to look at. So I would say roughly about 85, 90% are local. However, when looking at the data prior, you know, there's the cool thing that was to see was how many people did come from other areas, and you can tell based on visitors. You can see other states. I think we had a couple people from Utah that visit. But yes, we do look at zip codes and heat. We create heat maps, and it shows that a lot of the folks around that neighborhood are using it. And then we can see based on zip codes and demographics kind of where those are at. We can definitely overlay that with some other data to see if those other folks are able to get there or not, and as well.
Yeah, because I'm just curious, because somebody like myself who has transportation, I live on the fringe of the city, but I can easily drive my daughter over there. Not everybody has that luxury, so it'd be interesting to know if the free and reduced, is it just in the maybe close area, or is there people from out? So
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Councilor Staley.
Several questions. Coming back to what Councilor Neisert said, I think that is an interesting point, Sky, about how many kids are using the free and reduced passes to the outdoor pools. Because when I've been dropping in there, I do see a lot of children that I think maybe like neighborhood kids around Drake Springs that probably aren't paying the full price. But in addition to that, how many outdoor pools in the summer are teaching swimming lessons?
4.
4. So I know Drake Springs doesn't teach any. Because, okay, I thought that they couldn't because it was so small is what I had heard in the past. Right, accurate? So, okay, so then will it be all the pools will have swimming lessons? Great. And back to what Councilor Kiley had indicated about busing, I have thought for some time that it would be really cool to partner with the school district to teach swimming lessons during the school day. Has there been any talk about that?
There has. Gina and I had some conversations several months ago in regards to working with the school district. I think it's a phenomenal idea, and there's a lot of logistics that we would need to work out with the school district and coordinating some lessons. But I can tell you that would be phenomenal, and I think it's a great idea that we would be able to do that. I think it's something that everybody wants to attain. It's just a matter of working out some of those logistics.
And I think during the school day, you probably have more free time.
We do, correct. It's just something we need to figure out instructors and some of that stuff as well.
And then just, if you could, Councilor Kiley said we got a $625,000 subsidy for 2018, and what was that subsidy for 2017? Wasn't it like 500,000 or something?
520, 523.
And what's the projected? So you said you're going to be adding. You're thinking it's 100,000 more this year with the raise, or what?
That I'm not sure. I have to get finance up to ask them what they.
Or I thought you said something about that raise was going to have an impact on the operational.
There will be an impact due to this board approving that 50-cent raise for part-time staff.
And then the last thing, the warranty issue, and I know, we had a conversation about the warranty issue with the event center siding and how our city investigates and asks for that before we enter into a contract with somebody. If we tell the public how long our warranties were with this, is it what, a year and a half that we got? You said that the substantial warranties have expired. So on the workmanship, quality, I mean, if somebody buys a new furnace, I think they may get like a 3-year warranty. You buy a new car, what was the duration?
Right, thank you. Kelby Maris with Parks and Recreation. The substantial completion warranties that Sky mentioned are in general for workmanship it's a typical 1-year warranty on the facility. However, you're absolutely correct. There are other what I'll call product warranties for other pieces, filters, HVAC systems, other pieces of the facility that still have warranties left in them that don't end with that 1 year after substantial completion. So, yeah, there are still some warranties that are there on the facility, but the typical 1 year warranty period is up.
So if there's some concrete that starts cracking, that would be a product warranty, I would think, or, I mean.
Well, the product warranties would be specific to pool systems or other building systems, but concrete, even though it is a product, the 1 year warranty for concrete is up. So if concrete does shift around, move, break to the point where it needs to be replaced, that's one of those repairs that now is our responsibility.
And heating and cooling, that would probably be the same?
It would depend, it depends on what it is with the heating and cooling. If it's a major part of the heating and cooling system that would be covered under the manufacturer's warranty, then it would be covered. If it's, you know, a belt goes out or something like that, that's a usable part, typical to your car warranties that you'd mentioned, that would not be covered, and that would be a repair that we would be responsible for.
And to press the point, I would say in dealing with building pools and facilities, that it would be beneficial if we could find out what other communities are doing that have put in indoor pools, as to what kind of, is that a standard, an industry standard that you just get 1 year, or could we have negotiated for a longer warranty? Do you know offhand if?
The warranties that are in place were part of the specifications of those pieces that were put in by our design team.
So it could, some places, some communities could have a longer duration for the warranty.
Well, it's my understanding that the warranties, the extended warranties past that year, I hate to call them extended, but the warranties that extend beyond that year are the typical industry standard type warranties that the design team put into place through the specifications.
Okay, thank you, Kelby.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Councilor Starr, go ahead. We'll come back to you, Councilor Neitzer.
Sky or Kelby might do a better job with this, I think. One of the things that we were talking about as this update is the general philosophy of where we're going with the pool. Is it our intent, maybe it's this way is a little bit better, how do we balance the need for an economic impact with the needs of the community? Do we need more tournaments? Should we be soliciting? Is that the intent of? Take me through the philosophy of what we're thinking overall as we move forward with the facility. Do we have the right balance between community use and tournaments? Or meets? Do we need more meets? Do we need more sponsorships? Where do you see overall that balance?
Well, I think Sky would probably definitely have opinion to this as well. But I do think we're striking a very good balance between our day-to-day programming and the swim meets that we bring. Prior to this facility opening, the swim meets that are coming to town just simply weren't possible. We could not host a swim meet in February before this facility was built. So I believe that is one of the things, when part of the vision, part of the multi-purpose use of the facility vision we had at design was to try to attract those type of meets when we built the facility. It does impact, of course, that pool's being used for a particular purpose, but at the same time, while we're still hosting swim meets, part of the facility is still open to the general public.
No, totally makes sense, and I think that's the difficult thing, or the thing that we balance, that I think Councilor Kiley pointed it out exactly right, that we're never going to get to break even, or is the goal to get to operationally that it would pay for itself? I mean, would you see that happening in the next 10 years from?
Oh, I think that would be great. I don't see that as one of our goals, though. I mean, we definitely want to keep the facility affordable. Through design, construction, and even to this point, the level of subsidy that we've seen over the last 2 years is where we believed we would be at the time. So while it's a little more in 18 than it was in 17, I still think we're right in there within that threshold that we'd hoped for during design.
Well, I think it's difficult with the new facility. Obviously, when something's new, the numbers are a little bit better than I think the last year, 18 was probably a better getting us to what we can expect as we go forward. I guess the one other thing that kind of stood out to me is that we were at capacity at a number of things, and where that's good for a long-term facility as the community continues to grow and things, that also kind of concerns me at the same time that we're fully utilizing something that has to take us a long time into the future as we replace that and look at different things. So more philosophy than anything. So,
Councilor Neitzer.
This is probably for Sky. And I will say that having when I'm usually there, I'm not surprised that you would say that warm water pool is many times at capacity.
My son loves it too.
Wouldn't mind if it was a little bit bigger, but I'm guessing that was, you had those trade-offs. You're trying to get all of these things into one footprint. So I was going to ask, do you have preschools, daycares? Do they come during the day, and do they have some way to get the kids in?
They do, and great point. The daycares in those facilities are using the Midco, and they're using it all at varying times of the day just due to the ability of extended operational hours of the Midco. They can come in the morning, they can go in the evening. Staff have done a really good job of trying to coordinate with those larger daycare providers, whether it's going to those on location to help sell passes, because some of those daycare providers actually require that those children have a pass to the facility. And then with that, we can educate those daycares and then say, hey, you know, when you guys are looking at coming to the facility, could you go ahead and call staff and coordinate that so that we can then coordinate daycare so then the public are still able to come in and kind of to the capacity issue that Councilor Starr brought up to try to reduce that impact as much as we can, so more people can enjoy the facility.
Okay. And my last question is really kind of the million-dollar question that I've been curious about since 2014. Does the cost of this, and I don't know if anybody wants to touch this, but does the cost of this foreclose anywhere in the near future discussions about new outdoor pools? Keene Park should probably be an outdoor aquatic center at some point, major expansion, and the city continues to grow.
You know, and we are working, with our consultant, we're going through that comprehensive park master plan right now. And, part of that plan is we'll be assessing those aquatic facilities, and then also we'll be using those recommendations for future aquatics.
Okay, thanks.
Councilor Staley.
As long as we're talking about pools, Councilor Neitzer brought up the pool issue. Let me just say again that when it comes to pools, and especially Frank Olson Pool, I do believe that with more signage to where the pool is, more emphasis, energy to getting people there in the noontime, we're going to see numbers go up. I think we can do a great marketing plan to bring people in. And I don't know why we don't allow music to be played at all of our pools. I understand music's played at the indoor facility, right? So why aren't we letting them have music at these other pools? We let it be played at Drake Springs at noon, but the lifeguards told me they won't let it be played during the day at these other pools. They let people bring their own beverages in. Drake Springs at noon is real festive. Zumba classes, I mean, it's like have at it. These women are having, these older women, my age and older, they're having a fabulous time. So I think we could do something like that over at Councilor Neitzer's area. We could do that over at Frank Olson, but we need to be affirming and caring for the pools that we already have, too. My 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I just have one question. We were talking about the daytime use as far as the schools and potential daycares that are able to use it. And I should know this, are we able to discount that in a way to increase users if, for example, there's schools that want to partner and still pay for it, but making it more affordable for a field trip and essentially creating more users out of getting people in the door and going home and saying, Mom and Dad, I went to this great swimming pool, let's go again on the weekend, or I went to my birthday party there, or whatever it is.
I definitely think that's something that we can discuss. If there's some schools out there that are looking to have that conversation, be more than happy to sit down and talk to them about that possibility. Great,
thank you. And I do want to state that I really appreciate your approach, and this council has given some direction to your department as far as keeping our desire to keep the pools affordable for those that are least vulnerable and on free and reduced. I know we put in, in my opinion, a policy, a great policy to making sure people are showing proof and going that way. And so I appreciate you guys honoring that and keeping these pools very affordable for all to use these facilities. And go from there. When someone's on free and reduced, they don't have a different fob, a different pass. There's no way to identify someone's on free and reduced.
No, they have the same pass fob that everybody else would.
Great, I appreciate that, because I don't want them to be singled out in any way, shape, or form, or make them look differently for that. So thank you for that. Any other questions? All right, thank you for being here. We will move on to our next Fall Safety Park report. Welcome, Kelby.
Thank you. Good afternoon, City Council. Kelby Maris with Parks and Recreation, here to visit with you today about the Falls Park Safety Report that was completed by Mike Reinstra of Alliant Insurance. He completed a site visit on October 29th of 2018 with the primary objective to provide an independent review of the drowning risk associated with the Big Sioux River and Falls Park. Throughout his report, he does talk about the control measures and the safeguards that are currently in place in the park. And in his report, he makes 3 recommendations for changes for us to do to Falls Park. The first recommendation is on the east side of Falls Park between the Turbine House and the Overlook Cafe. As the pathway goes toward the Turbine House from the Overlook, there is a sandy path along the east bank. This path is historical in that there is an eddy just below the Turbine House, which in the summer months does collect debris as it comes down the Big Sioux River. And we need to access that area from time to time to clean that debris out. Has also become a popular spot, although there is a viewing platform just directly above that location at the falls. So our proposal to his recommendation to make this less accessible would be to install a gate, a weathered steel gate at this location, along with signage that would say something in the effect of authorized personnel beyond this point. Again, a gate so that we can easily get to the area to clean the debris out of the river as we do typically every summer. Another one of the recommendations was to eliminate potential access to this location. This is the upper viewing platform on the west side of the river, obviously right there by the railroad trestles. Current picture there is opening between the 2 railings between the viewing platform and the railing along the pathway. Our proposal is to construct the same or similar railing from the viewing platform back to the railing along the pathway. The third and final recommendation that he had during his report is a little more difficult to show in pictures, but I will do the best I can here. At the Overlook Cafe, going north along the parking lot, there is a metal guardrail at the east edge of the parking lot, and you can see it on the picture on the far right. At the end of the parking lot, that metal railing ends, and it picks up with some split rail fencing, as you can see on the picture on the far left. The proposal would be to continue with that metal guard railing from the end of the Overlook Cafe parking lot going north to a location in which there is wooden guardrail along the bike trail to a location where that pipe comes across the Big Sioux River. These 3 recommendations are things that we plan to put into place yet this year in 2019. We do have a project that already has some wheels in motion to address some erosion at the area here in the Overlook Cafe parking lot that would help us address especially this guardrail area. As I mentioned, this presentation was to visit about the report and the findings of the report that Alliant Insurance completed and was delivered to the city in December of last year. And with that, we would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kelby. Any questions? Councillor Staley.
I will just tell you this issue is so inflammatory in our community. People have such strong feelings about this. When we're talking about the first step of it, and I've actually, in the past, I've been down walking around in all of these areas, but the first picture you have where you're going to put up the thing by the with the gate, Kelby, what is past that gate? Is that just a drop off?
There is a sandy path that continues to the south, and there is rock outcroppings
But
farther to the north.
if someone was to say, well, here's that gate, I think I'll just go down here, is there a way they can get down past it and just keep going anyway, getting closer to the water?
Yes, there is. It's much more difficult, but there is definitely a chance that they could get around it. There's also opportunities to go up and over whatever we would construct as well.
Then the other one that we're talking about is that, and I've been down in that area as well, that actually you can, in the past you've been able to use that to get over to that little park by Sioux Steel. What is that park called?
That's Kiwanis Park, and actually there is no access from north of the railroad trestle to Kiwanis Park.
Well, I've actually kind of crawled along there in the past. Now, not in recent years, but in the past I have gone along the river to get back there. You're saying that that's been, you couldn't physically do that anymore?
Well, to the south of the railroad trestle is still Falls Park. We refer to it as Falls Park West. And as you get down to the Sioux Steel fence, still going south, that would be the northern edge of Kiwanis Park, but it would be on the riverside. But it's a significant distance from the location in the pictures.
So do we ever have any plans, since that is a city park, to make some kind of a pathway to get there from this place?
Development of Kiwanis Park would be something that we would address in further development of the River Greenway along Sioux Steel.
Okay, and then one more right now is when you're talking about those, that first one, there was one of them that was that, I think it's that last one you talked about. Is that over by the steps? There are those concrete steps going, so this is going to be helping to keep people away from that part of the, is that right? It's going along there?
It would. There's really no access to those steps. Those steps, the top of those steps are off of the Overlook Cafe parking lot and already protected by that metal guard railing.
So this is going to be extending past that?
Yes, it's going to be extended essentially about another 200 feet north of the parking lot to where it meets up with another existing guardrail along the bike trail.
Okay, that's all for now.
Any other questions? Councillor Neitzert?
Yes, first I'll say that I appreciate that kind of looking at the mock-ups, it looks like it'll fit in character, and if you didn't know any better that it had been changed, you wouldn't know, and that's good. So that was a big concern. Councilor Staley asked about the stairs, which I think were called an attractive nuisance. So that I think has been addressed. The other question I had, and this wasn't in the report, but it's something that I know others have noticed for a while. There's a missing bar or two over where trying to explain it, where the building that housed the dam before, the
turbine house?
Yeah, the turbine house, thank you. Where it obviously had like bars so that people couldn't go in there, and there's been a couple missing for quite a while, and you can tell that people can go in there, and that seemed like an attractive nuisance as well. And wondering if that would be, or could be addressed and repaired.
I do know we made some repairs there last fall, but we'll double check to make sure that the repairs we did make were still in place.
Okay, they may have been since I looked last. Okay, thanks.
Councillor Kiley.
Thank you, Kelby, for the report. And we were all in agreement unanimously that we wanted to have an additional set of eyes on Falls Park to make sure that our experts had identified everything we can and hadn't overlooked anything that was greatly contributing to incidents that have or may occur at the park. And I think the report shows that our safety personnel has done an excellent job over the years in identifying hazards at Falls Park. I mean, if we come up basically with 3 items here, and this is, of course, in addition to what we already authorized last year for on the west side, below the falls, the area where the foam generally accumulates, and the installation of a new viewing platform. That was really the first step in going beyond what we had already done before, and these are additional steps. The unfortunate thing in safety is, regardless of our best efforts, whether it's traffic safety or in this case Falls Park safety, people are always going to exceed the limits. Regardless of how many speed limit signs you put out on Interstate 90 or 29, there's always going to be individuals that exceed that limit, whether you post it every quarter mile or every mile. You can build barriers and people are going to climb or go around the barriers. But I think what these items do here that you've gone through, it illustrates a clear intent that they should not be beyond that particular point. And hopefully that will resonate with the individuals, our visitors at Falls Park, and just make Falls Park an even safer place than it has been in the past. So really no questions, Kelby, other than just wanted to point out that our safety personnel, our city safety personnel, have done a very good job in the past, and I'm confident we'll continue to do so into the future.
Any other questions? Councillor Starr.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Maris, I guess one of the things that popped into my mind as we're talking about this is, you know, originally it was the foam and access to the foam and the water quality. Did the safety consultant review that there may be some, I'm trying to find the right word, but some concern about either having access to the water like the Department of Energy and Natural Resources had said? Does there need to be some signage that says there's a risk of E. coli and that the water is contaminated and dangerous to not only swim? I know we have no swimming signs, but the foam that sprays off and some of the other things, was that considered as part of the safety report?
I don't believe it was that the water quality itself was considered as part of his report. The report was very focused on the original objective, and water quality was not part of that objective.
Okay. Do you think there's some signage needs that need to go along with the spray and the risk of E. coli and actually being in the water, or do you think we're adequately signed for that type of risk?
I guess I don't have a great answer for that. I'm not exactly sure. I do know that it's waters of the state, and so water quality signage, I believe, would best come from the state and not from the city.
That makes sense. Thank you. That makes sense.
And I may want our city attorney, Stacy Koister, to come up on this one, but the same, talking about piggybacking off of Councillor Starr, my concern has been that we need more signage, and we maybe need to have an ordinance that says a city ordinance prohibits either swimming or being on the rocks. Because right now we can put up the fencing, but right now, and we addressed this months ago, but there's nothing in our city ordinance that's going to keep people legally off the rocks. And so we have people that are ending up in the water and having to be rescued. So is that something that someone could weigh in on, whether we can go that direction to have an ordinance that, that would prohibit, city ordinance prohibits swimming at the falls, fines will be implemented?
What I can say is that that was not addressed within this report. The signage at Falls Park does prohibit swimming, and that is a state game, fish, and parks regulation.
But we really don't have any teeth in it as far as the city goes. And I've had people, they've put on Facebook that they've taken photos of little children wandering out on the rocks and getting people wading in the water. And if that was illegal, and if we had a signage up there saying that, then someone could dial 911 and say someone is in the water, and we could actually act on it. Because right now, I don't think if someone goes wading in the water, it's not illegal, right? If somebody's in the water, it's okay.
That would be a question for the police department, I guess, would be an enforcement thing. And again, it wasn't part of the report, so I don't have a good answer for you.
Okay, so to me, I mean, all these other things we're doing, but the prevention things are good, but I think we need to even take it a step farther. And we talked before about having signage that would be closer to the ground. Are we going to be looking at that? Because the signs are up a little higher. Are we going to be creating new signage that would catch people's attention a little more? Do you know?
The caution signs at Falls Park the heights have been adjusted down from their original height.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Kelby? I just have one question for you. As we talk about the waterway, you mentioned that Game Fish and Parks is who oversees the waterway then. So really, if we pass something that said you couldn't do it, it would fall within the enforcement of Game Fish and Parks. Is that how I'm understanding that, or how does that work?
I have limited knowledge in this, but I believe that the police department can still issue a citation based on that Game Fish and Parks regulation of no swimming.
But Game Fish and Parks essentially would have to be the person that would pass it and not the council.
Correct, they set the rules.
Okay, so if we want to do something with that, we need to reach out to Game Fish and Parks, since we can't, the way that I'm understanding it. Thanks for being here. I appreciate your time. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none. Councilor Kiley? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We're going to move to public comment. Any public comment on any of the items that were discussed today, the two topics? All right, seeing none. Councilor Kiley.
I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel or reviewing communications from legal counsel about proposed or pending litigation or contractual matters pursuant to South Dakota Codified Law 125-3.
Second.
There's been a motion to move into executive session. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Brecky?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Selberg? Sale?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes. All right, we will move into executive session. If we could please have the room cleared. Thank you. Following this informational meeting, we will have land use meeting, so come on back in for our land use meeting after that. Thank you.